CentralFloridaPolitics.com, where Central Florida turns for political news.
We have Seth McKeel here. He's state representative for Lakeland. How far is your district cover?
District is District 63, which is southern parts of Polk County, South Lakeland, Bartow, Mulberry, parts of Winter Haven, and then I go all the way down through the agriculture areas and over to Hillsborough County to the retirement community of Sun City Center. Okay. So I've got a pretty big district.
It's golf cart capital of the world.
Yes, we go to Sun City Center. That's right.
All right. Seth or Representative McKeel is basically the expert on offshore drilling. Become the go-to guy on this, and he has some interesting facts. Can you tell us a little bit about what you guys are trying to do in the legislative session coming up with the offshore drilling?
Sure. We believe that the timing is right for us to take advantage, obviously, of the opportunity that offshore natural gas and oil exploration are going to bring to Florida. Florida is one of the few states, and the few areas, in the Gulf who have not allowed the exploration. And the interesting thing is we do allow for the production piece of it. We allow for the importation through barges and pipelines, which sometimes could be potentially dangerous as far as spills or leaks or whatever. What we don't allow for is the part that we know is safe, and that's the production side of it, the extraction of the oil and natural gas. But that's the part that creates the revenue. That's the part that you can actually lease and create the revenue. So we think it's odd that Florida's not able to take advantage of the revenue and the economic advantage piece of the business while we are doing all of the importing piece of the business.
Any idea how many jobs that this would generate if it gets passed?
Sure. The estimates, like I said, are between 300 to 350,000 total jobs, specific to the industry. Industry jobs anywhere from 50 to 60,000 specific jobs in Florida. So that's another issue. We know we want to diversify the economy in Florida. That's something we've been working on for a long time. Florida has a three-legged economy with construction, tourism, and agriculture. And if we're going to diversify that economy, we've got to find high skill, high wage, high paying jobs. Those 59,000 jobs that I talked about, the lowest salary is around $65,000 to $67,000, ranging all the way up into over $100,000 six-figure jobs. So they're good jobs for Florida. They also generate a revenue base for the state. Heath, an issue that I've got is we just went through a legislative session where we had to cut $6.5 billion out of state government, and part of that process, in my opinion, we sold our soul to a gambling industry for less than $200 million a year, and we're talking about potential revenues of billions of dollars to the state for an industry that brings high skill, high wage, high paying jobs to the state. So to me, it's really a no-brainer.
We talked about Alabama and how they're able to supplement their budget. Can you tell me a little bit about that again?
Sure. The state of Louisiana fund and the states of Texas fund almost their entire education programs through the lease revenues from the oil and gas industries. The state of Alabama funds 10% of their entire state budget. We're talking about the similar numbers, 14 to 15% of the entire state's budget funded from these types of activities. So, when we can do it in a safe, clean, effective, and unsightly and out of sight way, it makes no sense that you wouldn't allow that in Florida.
Now, you mentioned out of sight, and we haven't discussed how what they're proposing is a little bit different than what you see off the coast of Louisiana and things like that. So Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, the issue in Florida, the advantage that we have in Florida is that the oil operators and the gas operators understand that there are vast reserves off the coast of Florida, and the beauty of them is that they're very shallow. Florida's waters off the coast are very, very shallow, so you don't necessarily have to have the 120-foot 1960s era oil derrick off of the coast. Anything within 6 miles would be would be low-profile platforms or underwater subsurface operations. These subsurface drilling platforms would actually be under the water, anchored to the ground, with pipelines either, depending on their geography, either back to land or out further to a larger piece of equipment that's well offshore and well out of the side of land.
All right. We discussed Cuba as well. Can you tell me about that as well?
Sure. The partnership between, in fact, on our website, there's some articles that we've forwarded around. The partnership between Cuba and Chavez is strong. They will be drilling off of the coast of Florida, 45 miles off the coast of Florida, basically taking our reserves that we would potentially have through directional drilling that we would have the opportunity to control and sending that revenue to people who don't like us. It just doesn't make sense that Florida and frankly the United States should be beholden to people who don't like us when we have the opportunity to benefit from the resource and benefit from the revenue and the resource right here in our state.
What can a regular person do, a regular citizen do to help get this piece of legislation passed?
That's a great question, and the answers are multifold. One is there's a website called energyfla.com. There's a lot of information on my website, sethmckeel.com. They can email our office, which is seth.mckeel@myfloridahouse.gov. They can email Representative Cannon's office in Orlando. He's the same, dean.cannon@myfloridahouse.gov. But I think that's the key. If you go to myfloridahouse.gov, you can get all of the members of the House